My sister-in-law, who hasn't always treated me well, got divorced due to cheating, and started visiting my place regularly to spend time with my son, which I allowed, but one day I found a page in his diary that completely shocked me. My mother-in-law is bombarding my phone with messages for calling out sister-in-law in front of the entire family and is calling me a drama queen? I, 32 female, am genuinely wondering if I did something wrong or am I being manipulated. I have a pretty horrible sister-in-law, 33 female, who I will name Kelly here. Sorry. I don't feel comfortable naming the right names because I want to protect my privacy as much as possible. Kelly has severe jealousy issues and hasn't been very kind to me throughout the years. She is actually my late husband, Joe's 23 male twin sister. When I say that the two are completely opposite, I absolutely mean it. Joe had always been a sweetheart while his sister was an absolute mess. She had severe jealousy issues, not just with me, but also with Joe. I can write a novel with what she has done over the years, but that's not why I'm here. The thing is, she is back in my life after 5 years of no contact. For some background, you must know that Joe and I had gone no contact with Kelly because of the way she treated us during my pregnancy. When I was pregnant with my son, Jack, 6 male, Kelly has always dreamed of being a mother and had been trying for a kid even before us, but she later discovered that she was infertile. There's absolutely no way that she would ever get pregnant, or that's what I've been told. The diagnosis broke Kelly and made her an even crazier person. Somehow she was convinced that she wasn't the infertile one and someone was trying to sabotage her or something. She had been acting out a lot and got into verbal fights with everyone, including her husband. Then when Josh and I announced our pregnancy 2 years later, she went absolutely crazy. At first she threw a major tantrum and accused us of getting pregnant despite her. She had some major meltdowns and called me various names that I won't repeat here. I had been feeling sorry for her despite her hate, so I never yelled at her or anything. The last straw was when she told me to get an abortion because she didn't want me pregnant before her. It wasn't a one-time delusional request either. She kept saying it every day and even sent me countless texts every hour or so. I got really scared of her and decided that it would be best to go no contact for my own safety. My husband and even my mother-in-law Linda, 56 female, agreed with me. We actually ended up having no contact with Kelly for 5 years until my husband passed away a few months ago. Josh died pretty suddenly due to a horrible accident, and it pretty much hit the family hard. I wasn't coping well and neither was my son. He began getting really fearful and wouldn't let me leave him. I had a hard time assuring him that I won't randomly die one day like his dad. Things were a huge mess and I heavily relied on Linda for help and support. She has been my rock through my grief. It was actually Linda who begged me to forgive Kelly since she was having a hard time with Josh's death. I knew it was true and I felt extremely bad for her. Linda convinced me that I should let Kelly back into my life and allow her to know Jack. I was reluctant but gave Kelly a chance. She seemed much better than before, so we slowly established a relationship and even allowed her to meet my son. Sorry for the long background, but I felt it was relevant. Now, onto the present situation. Kelly is now divorced from her husband because she cheated on him. Remember how I said that Kelly didn't believe she was infertile? Well, Kelly somehow got into her head that maybe she could get pregnant if she slept with someone else. She did that, got caught and then tried to play it down. Her argument was that her now ex-husband should have been happy that she was trying to get them a child. I know it's all messed up. This should have been a major red flag to me that Kelly was delusional and possibly mentally unstable. Anyway, her husband threw her out and divorced her, so she ended up becoming emotionally dependent on Linda. She also began visiting us regularly and got closer to my son. Jack actually liked her, but a few days ago I saw him being a little wary of Kelly. He also became extremely clingy to me and cried whenever I had to go out. I got suspicious, so I checked the diary that my son writes from. From time to time. Before anyone attacks me for reading his diary, let me remind you that he just turned 6. It isn't even a diary per se. It's a small notebook where he writes down his emotions and feelings when he wants to. His therapist asked him to write down his feelings so that we could keep better track of them. So I read his diary and found out that Kelly had been telling him some messed up things. She told him that she would be his new mommy after I was dead like his father. Jack had been worried that I would also die soon like his father, and that's why Kelly has been telling him these things. I later sat Jack down and assured him that nothing like that would happen. Jack was crying a lot because Kelly had been coming over every day and telling him these things. After managing to calm him down, I called Kelly and confronted her. She didn't deny it and acted like it was all fine. Words were exchanged and I ended up uninviting her for my son's birthday party. I also blocked her everywhere and went no contact with her again. I had a hard time getting Jack back to normal after his father's sudden death, and Kelly had just reversed everything in a matter of weeks. I couldn't just forgive her. To me, she was absolutely an insane and crazy woman. That is someone I don't want around. Now Linda knew what Kelly did and why I cut her off. She seemed upset, but didn't say anything against my decision. But she ended up doing something that pissed me off, and it happened at my son's 6th birthday party. The party was in full swing when my mother-in-law arrived. I wasn't surprised at her arrival because she had been invited despite everything, but I was shocked to see that she had brought someone with her. You get one guess for who that person might be. Yep, it was Kelly. Guys, I noticed as soon as I saw Kelly smugly walk into the house. I was super mad at Linda because I didn't take back her invite even after she took Kelly's side. I had no idea that she would break every boundary I had set with her and do something that she knew I wouldn't like. Guys, I don't know what came over me, but I actually saw red. I was somewhat in control of myself when I confronted the duo. I didn't even bother asking Linda why she had brought Kelly. I was so angry that all I wanted was for Kelly to leave, so I angrily walked over and told her just that. Kelly acted all offended and kept loudly asking why I was kicking her out. She literally acted like she didn't know why I wanted her to leave. Kelly was being intentionally loud to get everyone's attention. She thought that I would let her stay if she got others involved. Well, that backfired on her meagerly because everyone came and started to ask what was wrong. Linda and Kelly stupidly tried to say that there was just a misunderstanding and I was being rude. That was my breaking point, guys. The moment they tried to paint me as rude for kicking Kelly out, I snapped. I started to tell everyone what Kelly had done and why she wasn't invited to the party. I was loud enough so that every friend and family member would hear what Kelly had done. I saw Kelly and Linda go pale as I went on a rant about what she did. When I was done, people started to verbally attack Kelly and told her that they couldn't believe she would do this to me and my son. Kelly started to cry and tried to tell everyone that I was making up stories about her, and that's when I offered to show people Jack's diary. Don't worry, I wouldn't have shown them. I only said it because I wanted Kelly to confess, and when Kelly knew that she would be caught in a lie, she cried harder and then ran out of the house to get away from everyone. Linda followed her, and I was glad to get rid of her too. Everyone who stayed back enjoyed the party and went home happy, so I would say that the party was a success. Now the problem is that Linda has been harassing me ever since that day. She has been leaving texts and voicemails about how it was petty and wrong of me to call out her daughter at the party. Apparently, the extended family is disgusted with Kelly's behavior, and some have even considered keeping her away from their families. I mean, I understand why they would do that, but Linda doesn't. In her eyes, her precious daughter is getting flack and it's all my fault. She is demanding that I apologize to Kelly so that everyone else would forgive her too, but I don't want to do that. Although I have been trying to maintain a relationship with Linda for Jack's sake, she is driving me crazy. I don't think that I did anything wrong, but she's making me have second thoughts. Sometimes I want to apologize to her and Kelly just to keep the peace and make sure Jack still has a relationship with his grandmother. Other times I just want to block them both and move on with my life. What do I do, guys? AITA? I'm trying very hard to understand if I should have done things differently. Edit. Look guys, I actually didn't want to allow Kelly back into our lives, but she was being nice to Jack, so I got a little weak there. No matter what happened between us, I thought that she could be given the chance to stay connected with a part of her brother's life. I guess grief had made me a little vulnerable and she took advantage of that. I wish I hadn't allowed her back in, but Kelly was putting up an excellent front and Linda had been in my ear about how I should try and make amends even if it's for the sake of Jack and my late husband. I swear Linda hasn't ever been disrespectful towards me before. I guess as long as Joe was alive she didn't want to cause trouble. But now that Joe's gone, she has grown closer to Kelly. So maybe her daughter got into her head. I mean, it's natural that she would gravitate towards her daughter since she is her only child now, but she should have thought about her grandson too. Jack still hasn't been like himself and he is terrified to lose me. His therapist and I are working on it, but it shows that he's still scared by what Kelly said. I just don't know what to do. Jack doesn't want to be around Kelly, which is why there's no trouble for me in cutting her off, but Jack still loves his grandma and doesn't know what she did at the party. At the end of the day, Linda is still a loving grandma in my son's eyes. I don't know if I want to take that away. I'm torn between apologizing to Linda and Kelly to save the relationship or just cutting them both out of my life. This is a big decision, which is why I'm asking for some opinion. If your goal is to just criticize me and my parenting, please be gone. If you don't want to help me, then there's no reason to read my post and leave unsolicited comments. Some of you are worried that Kelly may have some mental health problems. I have similar theories but can't say for sure. She's never been to therapy in her life and the people around her don't seem to think she's crazy or needs help. I'm not qualified enough to say for sure if she has a problem, but she does sound delusional to me right now. Maybe bringing her back into our lives was a bad decision after all. Before I begin this update I have to address a few things. I get it guys, I shouldn't have allowed Kelly back in. Can you please stop sending me horrible messages and telling me that my son's trauma is my fault? I feel guilty as it is. I'm trying my best to remedy the situation. I assure you guys that she will never be forgiven again. I actually wouldn't even have considered apologizing if not for Linda. Jack has a pretty good relationship with his grandmother. He has already lost his father, and his aunt turned out to be an absolute psycho. I was trying not to let him lose his grandma as well. The situation here is pretty tense as it is. You have to remember that I am thinking about my son here. It would be difficult to explain that his grandmother had betrayed him. Jack wasn't around. When Linda and Kelly showed up, Linda had left her gift, which I gave to Jack. Kelly actually didn't even bring anything for Jack. Jack has been asking why Linda didn't come to see him on his birthday. I just didn't have the heart to tell him what was going on. So no, I'm not some doormat that many of you think I might be. I'm just trying to solve a complicated situation, but you guys are right. I need to set the record straight with Linda. I was pretty tempted to block her because of her annoying messages. She has been at it for days and didn't stop even after I stopped replying to her. After reading all your replies last night, I called her and asked to meet with her. I firmly told her that she needed to come alone because I had some important things to discuss with her. No, I didn't apologize to her or her stupid daughter. I just arranged the meeting and hung up, and since I called her, Linda has stopped sending me her stupid texts. Thank God for that. I'm already at my wit's end and don't have the energy to deal with her harassment. I haven't told Jack anything about Linda and Kelly. I'm waiting to meet with Linda before telling Jack anything. I will be meeting with her tomorrow, so pray for me. I hope she won't bring her stupid daughter with her, because I swear I will walk away. Please wish me luck. So I met with Linda and, boy, the meeting didn't go well. Consider this a disclaimer because I know some of you are big on mending relationships and all that jazz. I was one of you too until this messed me up and knocked off those rose-tinted glasses. Sorry for being sarcastic and sassy. My mind is just all over the place. I met with Linda yesterday, and it pretty much confirmed what some of you have been telling me. There is very little possibility of us having a good relationship again. I was pretty nervous when I went to meet Linda. Thank God she didn't bring Kelly this time. I was getting a little hopeful that maybe Linda was getting my point of view for once. Well, no such luck. Linda had been expecting me to be remorseful and apologetic, I guess. She looked pretty uncomfortable when I acted coldly. After a little chit-chat, I asked Linda why she thought I was at fault and should apologize to her daughter. She nonchalantly told me that it was because I said horrible things about her to her family. I then asked her if I was lying. Linda stammered a little before going quiet. Then she started to go on a rant about how families forgive each other and don't cut people off. I stopped her mid-rant and asked her if she supported Kelly on what she did. Linda went quiet again and then started to say that Kelly was just trying to be a caring aunt and that I was overreacting. My mouth literally hung open when she said those words. I stared at Linda in disbelief, and it must have been bad enough for her to launch into another rant. I don't remember the conversation word for word, but I have summed it up for you in some points. 1. According to Linda, I shouldn't have yelled at Kelly and aired her dirty laundry in front of everyone. Since she was already at my house, I should have graciously let her stay and enjoy the party, because that's what family does. 2. Kelly's intentions with Jack were misunderstood by me. She was only looking out for him and assuring him that someone would take care of him in case I died. Yeah? That was very reassuring again. 3. I shouldn't have been so mean to Kelly because she's in a bad situation and hasn't been her cheerful self since her divorce. Yeah, let's just forget that she is a cheating idiot. Since Kelly doesn't have a husband anymore, I should be more compassionate and understanding because I am single as well. Lady, I'm a widow. Well, she got divorced for being unfaithful. 5. Linda doesn't want her family fractured, so she thought that it would be best if we all got along. So to sum it up, Kelly dearest is depressed because of her divorce and meant well when she filled my son's head with nonsense. And we're supposedly family, so we should keep the peace and stay together. Linda also proudly reminded me how she had brought Kelly along to my son's birthday party so that I would make up with her stupid daughter. Linda thought that I would just gobble up her nonsense and agree with her wild teachings. She went on and on like she was giving a sermon. I remained quiet, but I was fuming inside. I just let her talk because the more she talked, the more I knew that I had to stay away from her. When she finally stopped, she gave me this patronizing look that sort of was the last straw for me. She was lucky that she was in a public space and I didn't want to cause a scene again. I just looked her dead in the eye and told her to go to hell. Yes, I know. I was rude, but I was just done with her. Linda looked pretty taken aback and her eyes went wide. Before she could start her nonsense again, I shut her down and told her to stay away from me and Jack. I told her that she had disrespected me by crossing boundaries and then excusing her daughter's bad behavior. I also told her that I no longer trusted her around my son and we will be no contact with her for a while. Linda looked shocked. She probably hadn't thought that I would cut off her access to Jack. She tried to say something else, but I just paid the bill and left. Now I'm back home and writing this update. Even as I'm writing this, Linda is sending me texts. Something about how I'm being unfair. I will probably read them after I'm done updating here. Besides, I have a more important issue. I need to talk to my son and explain to him why Linda wouldn't be around. And to be honest, I am kind of dreading the conversation, but it needs to be done. That's all I have to say for now. If anyone is interested, I will post another update later, but I can't say for sure. I was starting to think that I probably wouldn't have to make any more updates. That was super naive of me. I don't know why I thought Kelly and Linda would leave me alone. I guess I'm the only one who respects boundaries over here. After my last post, a lot of things happened. Linda had been texting me non-stop about how I was being unfair towards her and how she needed to see her grandson. I let her blabber on and muted her chat. She tried calling, but I never picked up. I only listened to some of her voicemails to see what she had to say about herself. All she did was cry and tell me that I was being mean. So I ignored those messages and went on with my life. But just 2 days later, all hell broke loose. Kelly showed up at my house and started to pound on my door. I never opened the door and only told her to go away. I was talking to her and watching her through the Ring Bell camera. Oh, boy, she had gone completely crazy. Kelly was absolutely furious that I had gone no contact with Linda just like I did with her. I believe Kelly thought that I could never keep her away from my son since Linda would always have access to him. When I grew a spine and cut Linda off, she complained to Kelly and scolded her for what she did. Kelly didn't like it one bit. She was mad at me for keeping Jack away. She was mad at me for turning our family against her that night, and she was mad that her mother was now blaming her for being cut off. She was on a rampage and I actually got scared that she would break the door in. I locked Jack in his room and had to call the cops because Kelly just wasn't going away. She also said some highly disturbing stuff about me, which I won't repeat here. It was traumatizing to say the least. Anyway, Kelly got taken away because even the officers couldn't get her to leave. Linda had to go and bail her out, and I only know that the cops took her away because she was behaving like an unstable woman and even slapped one of the officers for some reason. I am too spooked to remember exactly what happened. I was busy making my son calm down while being locked in a room with him. The officers later informed me about what happened. All this happened last night, but I was too traumatized to make an update. Now that I have calmed down a little, I needed to vent, so this is where I came. My family is on their way to my place and they will be here in a few hours. I don't think I want to be alone in the house with my son right now. Thank God my mom and dad offered to come and stay with me. Hi guys. It's been 2 months since the post and I'm back, and this is hopefully my last update for you guys. When I first made the post, I had no idea that things would change so much in life, but here we are. I am actually doing much better, and so is Jack. I'm really touched by all the kind messages that you left in my inbox. Some of you have been worried about my safety, so I thought I should give you an update on how things are right now. Well, after Kelly was taken to the police station, she called the one person who still talked to her, her mother. Linda got Kelly out, but she's still in trouble for slapping a cop. Now, let me tell you that whatever I know about Kelly and Linda now is through other family members. People have mostly cut Kelly off but have stayed in contact with Linda, so they have a lot of information on what happened after Kelly was taken away. Remember how I said that Kelly was behaving like an unstable woman? Well, looks like she's been put on psych hold. One of my cousins told me that Kelly possibly has severe bipolar disorder, which explains why she's been acting like a nasty woman all this while. Kelly's ex-husband had somewhat confirmed this too because Linda had approached him about this. Apparently, Kelly's behavior had scared Linda a lot, and she was concerned about Kelly. Well, turns out that he knew that her daughter was mentally unstable, and that was exactly why she was so forgiving of her. It's still a mystery why Linda never pushed Kelly to get help before. Maybe then she wouldn't have turned into this horrible mess. Anyway, from what I hear, she has been put into a psychiatric facility, and thankfully she hasn't tried to reach out to me in any way. Linda, however, did reach out to me, and since I blocked her number and went no contact with her, Linda left a letter with the cousin and asked her to give it to me. I read the letter and have some mixed feelings about it. She basically asked for forgiveness and sort of blamed herself for letting Kelly's illness get this far. The letter actually felt like a little rant, which Linda has a habit of doing frequently. Still, it did melt me a little since her apologies felt sincere. She said that she respected my need for no contact and was sad that she failed her kids and her grandkid. She also said that she hoped I would give her a chance to make amends and reconnect with Jack in the future. Till then, she will work on being a better person and respect my boundaries like she should have. The letter was kind of bittersweet, to be honest. After Joe's death, Linda and I had gotten close. But all this destroyed that. I'm also sad because she really does love Jack. I did talk to my son and explain to him in very kid-friendly terms that Linda wasn't a safe person to be around anymore. I also explained that Linda loves Kelly, so it's hard for her to go anywhere without her. I guess Jack seemed to have understood what I said. He has been doing better but is still wary of Kelly. I don't take her name in the house anymore. Jack has also not asked for Linda, which is a relief. I do feel bad that they lost their relationship, but I'm not going to open my arms and welcome Linda back into our lives right now. Maybe in the future, when Jack is more grown up, he can decide what he wants to do. For now, Linda will have to suffer the consequences of her actions just like her daughter. Right now, I'm actually thinking about moving back to my parents' town. I'm having a hard time with everything and it would be good to be near my parents for a little while. I will come back and visit, of course, because I want Jack to have a relationship with the rest of Joe's family. I won't punish them as collateral. That would be